Hey everyone, welcome back. Today marks the first day of the new season. With it comes a new meta and a chance to once again climb towards Legend. Normally at the start of the season, the battles are pretty easy. It's just kind of easy going, trying out new Pokemon, but I wanted to challenge myself this time, so I joined the Sublock. If you don't know what this is, it's basically a group of people who've come together and said that they're going to try to get to Legend only using Pokemon that they're allowed to use by their viewers. Every time you're using a team, if a viewer subscribes, they're allowed to ban one of your Pokemon. If they gift 5 subs, they can revive one of your Pokemon to use later on, and it basically just makes it so you have to spice up your team a little bit more. I'm not doing the challenge for the whole season. I'm only doing it up until I get my ELO reveal, so it's going to be about a week worth of Sublock content. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be forcing me to use a lot more spicy picks as well, so hopefully it's going to be very entertaining for you as well. I stream my battles basically every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN. If you want to see this challenge live, make sure to check me out there. I start 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. It's going to be a lot of fun. Without further ado, let's get into the first battles of the season. All right, game number 1 of the new season, up against a B-Barrel in the lead. This is a very good matchup. Our backline doesn't want to see this, but in comes a safe swap Altaria. I didn't really know what to do there. I thought at first that might be a Shadow Dragonite. I was going to chip and dip it, but now we are down energy. They're going to get a shield advantage against our Shadow Drifloon. I need switch, right? I can't let our Shadow Feraligatr be up against that B-Barrel, so I do have to shield here, but now I'm down shields. I'm going to give that B-Barrel a huge farm down against our Drifloon. This is not looking great right now. I'm going to go for the Ice Wind, try to undercharge to get some Astonish damage against this, but it does still end up knocking out. I have to instantly throw this Icy Wind, make sure I can get a debuff. Maybe I can get a second move against them, but I probably can't. Maybe I should have debuffed a little bit later to give them less farm. They get a full Surf loaded before they're going to be able to farm us down, and now they're going to throw it against our Unove and Stunfisk. Luckily, we have debuffed them, and we do have that Thundershock buff, which is going to add a little bit of extra damage here to our fast move pressure, but we're still not going to be able to fast move them down. Discharge will be thrown, hopefully get a shield or knock them out. It does get the shield. I probably would have preferred the knockout, honestly. They throw another charge move. I have to shield this, or else they're going to knock us out here, and this is looking very awkward. I know they are 4 away from their next move, but they have a Skeleturge in the back. This is a little bit of an opening right now. I can come in, CMP the Hydro Cannon. As long as we get a shield here, there should be a good chance of winning this game, but I'm pretty sure we get one shot by a Shadow Ball from the Skeleturge as well, which is also going to be kind of annoying because a Mud Bomb probably doesn't knock them out from here, right? Mud Bomb did get a buff a couple seasons ago, but it's still kind of a weak move. I think I need to throw 2 charge moves if I want to knock them out here. If I throw all of my energy here, though, am I going to be able to reach a charge move against that B-Barrel to take them out? It's going to be very close. Another move is thrown. I'm going to be energy dry after this matchup, so I have to hope that they're on their 4 cycle. They should be. They shouldn't have any residual energy right now because they threw 2 Surfs against me. Am I able to get the discharge? Just barely. Somehow almost losing game number 1. This was a very close matchup, but Unove and Stunfisk coming through, taking out that B-Barrel. GG's to them, showing what B-Barrel is made of. Looks like our entire team just got banned. Our Twitch chat has none of it. They didn't want to see those Pokemon anymore, so I guess we're going to try to use Unove and Stunfisk maybe in a couple weeks when I can use it again. We'll just have to see. I guess this is a Dugtrio on our screen right now, throwing a Mud Bomb. That's not really what you want to do. This is more what I was expecting from Rank 1 battles. What the heck was going on in that first game? That was a very sweaty match, but this one is looking a lot easier. In comes a Hypno Safe Swap. Obviously, the punches did get buffed here this season, which could potentially mean Ice Punch or Thunder Punch would do a lot more damage to Mandibuzz, but I'm not that concerned. Mandibuzz is still very bulky. These confusions are doing nothing to me. I can no-shield this knowing that I don't get one shot, and maybe they're not even running a punch move. Yeah, they're running Psyshock. What is that? Why would you Psyshock on Mandibuzz? Maybe they're running Shadow Ball as well, which is a strange moveset to say the least. I'm going to throw the Dark Pulse here before they can get another move off. This will get the knockout if it goes unshielded, and if they do shield it, that's both of their shields gone. I'm not that worried about that Dugtrio, right? And in the backline, Laron, okay, a Pokemon that you don't really see too much in the Go Battle League. B-Barrel should be a pretty good matchup here. We're resisting these Metal Claws, and we can probably resist most of the charge moves they're going to throw. It's a heavy Slam. I think they could also have Body Slam, actually, which it wouldn't be resisted, but it's not exactly a strong move, so it wouldn't be that threatening either way. Surf is going to come through. Does it end up getting shielded, or does it get the knockout? Neither. It actually survives just barely, but I can go for a rollout down now, try to knock out this Laron, and make sure that it is not going to be a threat in the backline. Not that it really threatens anything on our team right now, and their final Pokemon, as we saw in that lead matchup, is the Alolan Dugtrio. This is a very squishy Pokemon. This Surf should be able to knock them out here. Let's see if it is going to go shielded. Our opponent does choose to shield the move. They throw Mud Bomb at the last second, but we can just shield this up, keep our B-Barrel alive just a little bit longer, go for the Surf, and knock out this weird Pokemon with hair. I don't know. It's a kind of a crazy design, honestly. I don't like it, but it's gone now, so we don't have to worry about it. GG's to our opponent, B-Barrel, putting in a lot of work. Unfortunately, B-Barrel just got banned. No more B-Barrel. That was fun while it lasted. Luckily, the Shadow variant is not the same as the non-Shadow, so we get to use Shadow B-Barrel for this next game here. A Poliwrath lead, we are going to go for the Aerial Ace, and I just noticed that thing is running Mudshot, not Counter here, which means that it's not going to be able to get as much fast move pressure against its I guess, but it's still going to do a lot in realms of charge move pressure. Could have Icy Wind, could have Ice Punch. I have to shield. Have you shielded Dynamic Punch? Okay, well, I guess I shouldn't have shielded that move. In the backline, going to be an Alolan Sandslash. We can swap in our B-Barrel. We resist these fast moves. I don't think we're going to get one-shot either way by a Drill Run here, too. If we were, that could be a little bit bad, but B-Barrel is kind of bulky. Like, it's not super bulky, right? It's kind of like Swampert, so Shadow Swampert level bulk here. I think I can survive this, though, after resisting the fast moves. That's a Blizzard! What the heck? Okay, well, that's a lot of energy down the drain for them. I can reach another Surf. Probably get the knockout against this Alolan Sandslash. Dude, these rank 1 battles are crazy. In comes the Poliwrath to farm us down. They get 2 more Mud Shots here, but we have energy on our Gliscor. It has Sand Attack, right? So it doesn't have the Flying type fast move, but it does reach these charge moves pretty quickly. Aerial comes through, almost knocks out the Poliwrath, and we can probably get the farm down here, but they end up swapping to their final Pokemon. It's going to be a Clodsire. We're not actually running Earthquake, we were running Night Slash to have a bit of a cheaper move, potentially coverage as well against the Ghost types, but it ends up being a bit of a detriment here where I can't Earthquake the Clodsire. I have to go for the fast move pressure and try to land the Hydro Cannon here. At this point, I know I survive a charge move from the Clodsire. I can farm them down, and that Poliwrath is pretty low in the backline. We end up surviving that very easily, get the full Shadow Claw down, and we can probably Shadow Claw down the Poliwrath and take the game here. They throw a charge move at the very last second, but we still have a full health Gliscor that we can use to close out this game if somehow our Gator went down, but we just take him out with Shadow Claws there. All right, next matchup looks like a lot more bans here. Once again, we have a ban on our Feraligatr, but look at that. We are able to use our Shadow Feraligatr again. That is because we had it revived up. A person in our chat decided to revive it with 5 gifted subs, so we're actually going to be able to use that for the rest of the day. That's going to be nice. It's going to be a little bit of I know, a little bit of help, because honestly, with how quick we're going through Pokemon right now, it's going to be tricky if we didn't have that. This is what Night Slash is also good for, by the way. Night Slash able to bait the Feraligatr, get to the second charge move before the second Hydro Cannon is reached. Unfortunately, though, it does not quite knock them out. I thought it would knock them out, but they survive on 1 HP. I catch the Hydro Cannon on our Shadow Feraligatr. It doesn't put us into half health range, but it does get us pretty low into the point where I think that this Greninja can go for a Night Slash and knock us out. This is looking like a triple Water Team potentially. They're already ABA Water-type starters. Maybe they're running like a Blastoise in the back. That'd be kind of cool. But we're going to no-shield this and just invest in more Pico. If it is going to be triple water, then we're going to be in a good spot. If it's like a Mud Slapper in the back, Gliscor should be able to have play into it. So we're just going to shield this, farm down, and have energy for the backline. These Thunder Shocks are actually doing quite a bit of damage. That damage increase here, putting in a lot of work, and we see it is triple water, but it is a Dugong in the backline. They let the first Aura Wheel through, it gets almost a one-shot. We can fast move this all the way down, and that Feraligatr is not going to want to take the Thunder Shocks as well. We're able to sweep that endgame, I guess, with Morpeko out of nowhere. Well, goodbye, Morpeko. I guess you just got banned. That's not great news. Mandibuzz in the lead. This is a very tricky lead matchup for Shadow Gliscor. Obviously, we do have Air Release, but the fast moves of Sand Attack are going to do almost nothing to them, so I do have to swap out there. It looks like I'm also running Steelix in the backline. Steelix got that new buff to Thunderfang, so that could potentially be interesting here. They end up taking a Hydro Cannon and then swapping out to their Skuntank. Skuntank is not actually that good of an answer to our Shadow Feraligatr. As you can see, these Shadow Claws, despite being resisted, are still doing quite a bit of damage to them, and we are able to land this Hydro Cannon against them. Is this going to beat the knockout? No, it doesn't, but it gets the shield from this Skuntank, and now we can let it go. It was a CMP, which means that now they've wasted all of their energy. We can come in with our Gliscor and potentially make something happen here with our shield advantage Shadow Steelix in the backline. This is kind of awkward, though. I don't think I could knock them out quite yet with an Aerial Ace, so I'm going to overfarm, at least have a bit of energy for the backline. It is going to be a crunch that comes through here, so they are not running Trailblaze. It looks like I have to go for the Aerial Ace at the last second before they get another charge move, overfarm to have energy on our Gliscor, and hopefully right now Steelix has some sort of play in the backline. I'm going to swap it into the Mandibuzz. We end up making a catch on the Aerial Ace, but if they have a hard answer to our Shadow Steelix, this could be kind of bad. We do catch the Ace, as I was saying, and in the backline, a Mud Shot Diggersby, not even Quick Attack. That is a terrible scenario to be in. Obviously, Fire Punch also got buffed here, which makes it even worse for us right now. But with that said, Steelix is kind of bulky. Maybe it can make something happen here. As long as we can force energy out of this thing, like maybe there's still some sort of chance this game, but it's going to be very close. That is also a 1421 CP Diggersby, by the way. That is a little bit interesting. We are going to just have to no-shield. They did throw energy about as quickly as they could, which means that now Gliscor hopefully gets to get a lot of energy for the backline matchup here. Air Release will not knock out despite getting that defense drop with the Psychic Fangs, but it will put it pretty low. I'm going to try to go for a move here to make sure they don't get a Fire Punch off against us. I need to make sure that I can survive a charge move against that Mandibuzz. Night Slash, no boost unfortunately for us, but we are able to two-shot them if we can get to the double air release. I know my only win condition is calling a Dark Pulse bait with the air release right here. They do end up air releasing us. We survive that. Can we survive the Snarls to get to these double air releases of our own? The first one comes through. It will knock them out if I can reach that next one, but these Snarls are adding up so much here, but we barely survive and get to that final one before they can fast move us all the way down. GG's to our opponent. Very close game. Somehow coming back from that one. I don't think we should have won that game, but, here we are. Our next matchup, we have a Gastrodon against our Shadow Gliscor. Very good lead, obviously resisting ground-type fast move pressure, but then they save swap a Dunsparce. We don't have a great answer to this. Obviously, we do have Gliscor, which can at least force him to throw Rock Slides, but Steelix doesn't really want to be in this matchup because of Drill Run, and Shadow Feraligatr also doesn't because, obviously, it is going to resist the Shadow Claw damage that we have. So it's kind of an interesting save swap here that we don't have a lot of play into. We get a shield here with our Air Release bait, and I'm going to try to catch a Rock Slide on our Shadow Steelix. I feel like that's going to be our best win condition right now. Make sure we can at least get some use out of this Pokemon. Rock Slide does almost nothing. Drill Run would two-shot us, so it's a good thing that we ended up catching there. Thunderfang is chipping it down a little bit, but we have desynced the switch clock quite a bit right now, so I would expect their Gastrodon to come in if they could possibly swap out. They end up staying in for just a second, but in comes that Gastrodon. I have some energy loaded. I can probably get 2 Psychic Fangs off, but these Mud Slaps are adding up very quickly, and Psychic Fangs, obviously non-stab, not a very hard-hitting move either. We barely don't get that crunch off, but the Psychic Fangs should put them into air release range. If they let this go, we're going to be in a decent spot here, because now we're going to have that air release on our Shadow Gliscor. We can throw it, try to knock out this Gastrodon, and either force a shield from them if they want to get these body slams off, or be in a very good spot where we just KO it. What is going to come in now? It's going to be the Dunsparce here. I can go for the air release, but it wouldn't quite be enough to knock out, so I want to shield overfarm as much as I can, and potentially knock it out with our Gliscor, so we don't have to deal with this Dunsparce with our Shadow Feraligatr. I'm hoping the final Pokemon is going to have something in the back that's not going to be super bad for a Shadow Gator right now. Air Release comes through, doesn't quite get the knockout, so I'm going to have to go for the Night Slash here at the last second. We do reach it, but our opponent overfarms. They go for that extra rollout, but they end up letting it go. At this point, what is the backline Pokemon going to be? It's a Jumpluff, a non-Shadow Jumpluff. Well, this is going to be annoying. I have to make 2 calls if I want to win this game. I have to both shield up an Energy Ball, and I have to make a Hydro Cannon bait. There's the first one. We end up shielding the move properly, and now as long as we get the bait off here, we can win this game going straight Ice Beam and knocking them out. They call it, though. That is a great call by our opponent here. We're going to have to go for the Ice Beam now and just hope that somehow our Shadow Gliscor can reach that air release and knock them out. If we end up reaching the Ace, I think it probably would be enough to KO this Jumpluff from this range. We're a Shadow Gliscor. We have a lot of attack, but can we reach it before we get Fairy Winded down? It's going to be very close. Our Gator does end up going down here. In comes our Shadow Gliscor. Can we get the move? No, they reach the air release right before we can reach ours. And even if we didn't get the charge move on the opponent's side there, I think we might have just been fast moved down. So it was a very close game, but honestly a very good bait call by our opponent. All right, next matchup, a Shadow Machamp into our Shadow Gliscor here. Looks like our Shadow Steelix got banned, so I guess regular Steelix it is right now. And we know that this matchup's pretty good for me, but I know also I can probably just get a free shield going for a Night Slash bait, potentially boost as well. Do we get the boost? No, of course not. But we can shield up potential Stone Edges and just kind of whittle this thing down so our Steelix and our Feraligatr don't have to deal with it. We do shield up the Stone Edge properly, which is fantastic news. In the backline is going to be an Azumarill, which we do have a Thunderfang Steelix for if we wanted, but honestly, I think Shadow Feraligatr is probably just a more consistent response. They're going for a charge move here, probably a Play Rough coming through right now. Yep, that is exactly what it's going to be, but we are so low in HP right now. What's up with that? I think this might be like the squishiest Azumarill I've seen. Maybe it's an attack-weighted Azu, because look at how much damage I've done just with one Hydro Cannon in the Shadow Claws. I think they must be getting some sort of bubble breakpoint against me, and I must be getting some sort of like Shadow Claw and Hydro Cannon breakpoint against them. Normally it barely gets knocked out by 3 Hydro Cannons, but 2 nearly KO this one, so that's kind of crazy right now. They end up letting us get to this next move before throwing any energy themselves. We can go for the Thunderfang down with our Steelix before they throw a potential Hydro Pump, and now they're going to come back in with that Shadow Machamp. I'm going to catch here on 3. I want to make sure that we don't end up taking that Cross Chop on our Steelix, and I feel like catching the Cross Chop here is probably just going to be a good play. We do get the proper catch here. We can knock out the Shadow Machamp, or they can catch on their Dunsparce. Good catch by them. And now we're going to try to use our Steelix as our win condition this game. Luckily, that Machamp does not have a move on it just yet. They didn't overfarm enough to come out with a Cross Chop. So what I can do here is I can come out of that matchup with this Dunsparce with a Psychic Fangs on our Steelix, and we should be able to win this one. We don't barely get to that Night Slash, so they get a nice farm down against us, but I know that we can shield once, no shield the second, and have that Psychic Fangs ready to go. That Machamp is not going to be able to reach another charge move. I just have to keep an eye on that top left corner, or top right corner rather, see when we see that fighting type Pokemon come back in. There it is. We're going to throw the Psychic Fangs. This will easily knock out the Machamp. It's a very squishy Pokemon. It's a super effective charge move, and there it goes. We can go for the Thunderfang down against the Dunsparce and take the win here this match. GG's to our opponent. Looks like no bans this time. We get to use the same exact team we were just running. Unfortunately for us, though, that means we are running this into a Pelipper lead. That is absolutely terrible. We save swap our Shadow Feraligatr, and in comes a Ferrothorn. This is not a good matchup, but obviously we have a little bit of play because the Shadow Claws are adding up. We get a lot of charge move pressure with these Hydro Cannons, and potentially if we get shields down, maybe there's going to be some play for us this game, but our Gliscor wants nothing to do with that Pelipper, and I also know that our Steelix, it doesn't really want to be down shields against Pelipper, but at least we have Thunderfang, right? So we can probably put some work in there if we end up getting switch advantage. They are throwing on good timing, it looks like, or at least overfarming a little bit here. We have the Hydro Cannon loaded. Our opponent is going to actually, no, this time they instantly throw the charge move, which is good for us. It gives us an extra Shadow Claw, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough extra energy to get to 2 Hydro Cannons before they're going to be able to get that third charge move off. I'm going to throw another move right at the last second here. We'll either get switch advantage or get their final shield. I kind of want switch. We do end up getting switch, but it's also like a little bit awkward here, right? Because this Pelipper is going to have a lot of energy. If we can get a shield from this Hydro Cannon, we're going to be in a good spot. Otherwise, we're going to just have to hope that our backline is going to RPS them. We do flip switch, so we get the Thunderfangs. They were doing so much damage to this Pelipper, but this is going to be a Weather Ball. How much damage does it do to the non-Shadow Steelix? Honestly, not that much. It doesn't even two-shot us here. They give us the full Thunderfang down. We can switch lock their final Pokemon in with a Psychic Fang's defense debuff. They end up coming in with a Scrafty. It's a good thing I flipped switch. I wouldn't want to be locked in Scrafty into my Steelix. That would have been really annoying. That was actually looking like a very RPS game. Fortunately, though, we were able to flip switch, and that's all it took to win this one. They're throwing a charge move, just a power-up punch. Looks like they're not going to be running Foul Play, or potentially maybe they're running Thunder Punch. I don't know. It's maybe they're just running Foul Play and Power Punch and they want to boost themselves early, but we can reach these air releases as quickly as possible, go for the knockout against this Scrafty, and overcome what would have otherwise been a very RPS match. GG's for our opponent. Scrafty is unfortunately not exactly the best pick right now. Pelipper, though, kind of an interesting one. Looks like we actually had 2 bans this time. It's going to be both our Steelix and also our Shadow Gliscor. So I'm doing a completely different team here with ItsAXN lead, doing a lot of work with these Ice Fangs. This is kind of going off right now. The superior lead with the Shadow Nidoqueen safe swap. We are going to go for the Dragon Claw bait. Actually, that's a regular Nidoqueen, not a Shadow. But even still, look at how much damage we've done with fast move pressure here. We catch the Poison Fang on our Skarmory. This is going to do so little damage to us. Even though they do get that defense drop, it's still running Poison and Ground type moves. We resist its entire moveset unless for some reason it's running Stone Edge, and they did not even build up to it. I think at this point I can Steel Wing this Nidoqueen all the way down, come out of this with enough energy to be able to Brave Bird probably even twice something in the backline, and if that's the case, we're going to be in a very good spot. In comes their final Pokemon. Obviously, Superior could not come in here, so this Brave Bird is going to come through. It's going to do almost half of a Azumarill's health, and now we can reach another one in just a second. We were already at -2 before this matchup, so now we're at -4. This Brave Bird actually doesn't even lower our stats at all, which is kind of funny, so we might as well throw it. It's the same energy as Sky Attack, and they end up shielding and throwing energy against our Skarmory. We have our Feraligatr that we can bring in against this Pokemon, but we could also just do the funny play, come in Arctibax, right? I mean, how often are you in a matchup where Arctibax is going to be able to close out a game like this? We're going to come back in with it. We might not even need our Shadow Feraligatr right now. I will need to shield up this move. We're running Icy Wind here rather than Avalanche, so I don't think we're going to quite one-shot this Superior, but after getting this debuff off, it's going to put them into a range where I know for a fact we can Ice Fang down, and there is not going to be much of an issue closing out this matchup. We've debuffed them. We know that they only have Air Release or potentially Frenzy Plant, or I guess Leaf Tornado to knock us out here. That does not do anything for us, especially after they ended up getting that debuff, and we can take that game there. Well, unfortunately for us, it looks like Skarmory and Arctibax both got banned, but look at that. We see that Unova Stunfisk actually got unbanned here. That's amazing for us right now. We can use Unova Stunfisk and Shadow Feraligatr for the rest of the day, but it's just going to be our third Pokemon that's probably going to get banned quite a bit. We got a nice catch from our opponent, though, on their Feraligatr. This is going to be kind of awkward. That Diggersby with that much energy against our Unova Stunfisk and our Shadow Feraligatr is going to put in a lot of work against us. Our Emolga is going to try its best to farm down the Skater, and I guess it can, but we're not running Acrobatics, we're running Air Release instead, which means we can't really get a lot of charge move pressure against that Diggersby when it comes back in, and I do have quite a bit of energy on it. The first air release will come through. If I get 2 aces off, I can probably put them into a Hydro Cannon range, but that Hydro Cannon catch from that lead matchup was honestly such a smart play by our opponent. I don't know why we're fighting such try-hard players here so early into the season, but it is not going to be an easy season from the looks of it. We're going to catch a Fire Punch on our Shadow Feraligatr. If they can catch, so can I. I'm going to try our best to keep our Emolga alive, and potentially put this into Mud Bomb range for our Ufisk. At least 2 Mud Bombs probably would be enough here. I kind of have to no-shield at this point, because if I shield this up, I'm down 2 shields to 0. I need to save shields just in case we need them in the back backline. In comes a Galarian Corsola, not quite able to get the Astonish down before we can reach this first Hydro Cannon. It does get the shield, and now we just have to hope that we have enough in the tank with our Unova and Stunfisk and also our Emolga to win this game. Obviously, these Thunder Shocks are doing a little bit more damage than they would otherwise thanks to the buff this season, but it's still not that strong of a fast move. They end up surviving that move pretty easily to the point where the next one's not even going to consider having them shield here. They are also going to throw a Nightshade. These Astonishes are chunking us, and this is just kind of showing why throwing these less efficient charge moves and fast moves are just so bad in this current meta, right? Astonish and Nightshade are just such efficient attacks that they're able to just brute force their way through this matchup despite the fact that we outpace them here. Nightshade almost knocks us out. I come in with our Emolga. If I can reach 3 Aerial Aces before they can reach 2 Fire Punches, I might be able to win this game, but that was a CMP. I know I'm 5 Thunder Shocks away from getting to my back-to-back Aerial Ace right now. I think they're going to have me here this game. I was 1 Thunder Shock away from knocking out the Diggersby, but even these quick attacks are going to add up enough here to where I think we just get fast moved down. Well played by our opponent. Not much we could have really done here this game, aside from what we really tried to do. They played it very well, catching my moves. Catching moves already this early in the season, I don't even know what to say. This Diggersby is just putting in so much work right now, gets the Fire Punch off, and that Corsola is still alive as well, even if we could somehow knock out this Diggersby. GG's to them. Alright, Noctowl. I guess we're using Noctowl. Looks like our Emolga got banned, and we have that Shadow Feraligatr and the Stunfisk in the backline. Stunfisk is a very strong Pokemon against Toxapex, but I don't really want to use our Gator against it, so I'm going to have to stay in this lead matchup at least for a minute, go for these Sky attacks. They did get the damage increase, but it also takes so long to reach that we're just going to get heavily outpaced here to that next move. This Sludge Wave is going to be a decent damaging attack against us as well. I'm going to Hard Swap into our Shadow Feraligatr, try our best to make something happen this game with it, but they come in with a Mud Slapper. I think I can see the writing on the wall already. I've seen 1 Mud Slapper, and I've seen a Toxapex. The odds of our opponent just having another ground type in the back, likely just a Gastrodon, are very high right now, which is not looking good for our odds of winning this one. Another Hydro Cannon will come through. We will get both shields likely from them, but this is looking so bad because these Mud Slaps are going to give them so much energy that they can probably Rock Slide our Noctowl and just win the game with the sheer, I guess, charge pressure that they're throwing out right now. In comes the first move. They bait us with a Bone Club as well. That is honestly so unnecessary right now. We're in such a bad spot, and they already choose to bait us. That's not nice. They do have Rock Slide, so it wasn't that they were trying to bait and like they didn't just have the other move. They were just trying to bait us for the love of the game right there, which is kind of crazy. They come back in Toxapex, which gives us a little bit of play, but that Marowak is still alive. The final Pokemon has not even been revealed, and these Brines, despite being super effective and not being that strong of a move, are still tripping us down. This Mud Bomb will come through. It'll knock out this Toxapex here, which means that our Noctowl doesn't have to deal with it. But if it is a ground type in the backline, which it looks like it's going to be that Gastrodon, we're going to be in such a bad position because despite the fact that we have our Noctowl alive, we are basically in Body Slam range at this point. This is looking so bad for us. I don't know how we're getting RPS. We're fighting tryhards in rank number 1. This was honestly such a hard day of battles, all things considered. It wasn't the free day of battles that you normally seem to get. We are going to try to get to a move with our Noctowl. We don't quite get it before this charge attack priority is reached, but I think we might survive a Body Slam, still reach the Nightshade here, but they have that Marowak in the backline, and honestly, this isn't going to be that strong a move from a non-stab kind of bulky Pokemon. Yeah, they end up surviving. They still have so much of the health on their Marowak. I have a Mud Bomb that I can reach, but the thing is, this is not even close to Mud Bomb range. Ufisk is a fun Pokemon, but it is not going to be able to do enough charge move pressure to knock out these Mud Slappers. GG's to them. Unfortunately, Double Mud Slap does end up taking us out in the end. Alright, I guess Noctowl got banned. In comes the Altaria, which means that now we're going to have a lot more fast move pressure in this matchup. If he still had Noctowl, this would be so much worse. We can no-shield the first move, go for the Sky Attack on the second one, and potentially draw a shield advantage, or maybe just knock them out here, depending on how they want to play out their Galvantula. Obviously, our Unova and Stunfisk is a much better answer to this than our Altaria is, but since this is the lead matchup and I want to keep our Gator off of it, I kind of just have to play out this neutral matchup instead. They do end up shielding that first move. I'm fine taking shield advantage here because I know that our Shadow Feraligatr up shields, especially once an electric type is out of the way, should have a lot of play. They end up overfarming here and then swapping out into their Malamar, which is kind of fine, right? We want to have our Ufisk have some play this game. I would assume their final Pokemon is going to be something that's a harder answer to our Unova and Stunfisk. That's probably why they swapped out. We want to give our Ufisk some play here if we can. They end up throwing a charge move, but we're kind of a bulky Pokemon. We can survive this no matter what it's going to be. Foul Play comes through, doesn't do too much damage to us. We have the back-to-back moves loaded right now. The Thunder Shocks are not adding up quick enough to really two-shot them just yet, so I will have to actually, okay, they shield that, which means I can come in Shadow Feraligatr. That is going to be the way that I can get the knockout in one more charge move, save the energy on our Unova and Stunfisk, and just hope right now that if that Galarian, or that Galvantula rather, comes back in, that we can farm them all the way down after shielding once. They get their charge move off. It's going to be a discharge. Luckily, they did not go for a bait. If that Malamar comes back in, we could throw a charge move, or if it's a Wigglytuff, I guess we immediately just have enough energy that we can two-shot them. They don't have any shields left in play. We can go for this first Hydro Cannon. It does so much damage. The second one will come through right after, and now this will take out the Wigglytuff. In the backline, we know that Malamar is still around, but we also know it's very low, and we have a Mud Bomb loaded on our Unova Stunfisk. We can easily get the knockout here, make sure that this thing is not going to be able to sweep us at the end of the game here. It doesn't actually knock out, never mind, but the next couple Thundershocks would. Our opponent realizes not much they can do there. Our next game, another flyer in the lead. We got that Altaria banned, so now Shadow Zapdos is on the team. Are we going to be able to take out a Wigglytuff? I honestly don't think so, but at the very least, we're going to be able to chip it down with these two drill picks. Maybe I can get a shield advantage here this game too, which could potentially set up our Shadow Feraligatr in the back, but I'm worried when you ever see a Wigglytuff lead that you're likely going to see a Mud Slapper in the back, which means our Unovan Stunfisk is in a very bad spot. Drill Peck comes through, does quite a bit of damage to them, but that's going to be a very awkward farm down for either one of our backline Pokemon. This could be an Icy Wind, and if they have a lot of fast move pressure here, I don't really want to just not use any shields this game, so I'm going to shield this up, and they are going to instantly swap to their Diggersby. That is a very bad sign. If they swap in one ground type, as I was saying earlier, the odds of them having a second one are very likely. I think at this point it's probably going to be either a Marowak or potentially a Gastrodon, which means our Unovan Stunfisk once again in the backline has almost nowhere to go. Scorching Sands comes through. It doesn't knock us out, but it does quite a bit of damage. I do reach a Hydro Cannon here, but this Diggersby is putting in a lot of work against us. That Scorching Sands has put us into quick attack downrange potentially, and because Diggersby is resisting these Shadow Claws, they are able to actually win the 1-0 shield matchup. We are going to try our best to knock this out with Unovan Stunfisk. Maybe if it's like a, I don't know, a Drifblim in the back, we could have some play. We're going to have to try to not get debuffed here, but in comes the debuff, and Wigglytuff does come back in. I have to throw a charge move before they're going to get to a Swift. I need to keep some health on this Pokemon just in case it is like a Pelipper or something else that I could one-shot here with our Stunfisk. Maybe a Bastion? Of course not. It's a Marowak. We get RPS'd. Good stuff. All right, next game, we're going to see... Oh, okay, speaking of RPS, this is a very bad lead matchup here. We have the Unovan Stunfisk up against our Pelipper. I think this is one of the worst leads we could see. We had our Pokemon get banned last game. Shadow Zapdos obviously would be much worse against that matchup. We at least have Weather Ball that we could throw against this later on. We get a nice catch on the Discharge, but our opponent's staying in here, so they can probably go for Mud Bombs, get a decent amount of damage against us. But we CMP'd, so at least we're going to get one off against them. Why would you Discharge here, trainer? Are they single moved? Why would they stay in if... I have so many questions right now. We're going to go for the Mud Bomb of our own, show them what the proper move to throw in that matchup is, and in comes an Excadrill. This Pokemon has Mud Slap. It's doing a lot more fast move pressure than that Unovan Stunfisk was against us, but this is a very awkward matchup because obviously they could have Rock Slide for a Pelipper. I want to swap out. If they're not going to have a strong answer for a Ufisk, and if they desync the switch clocks this much, I think that Pelipper is going to be a great match to... Earthquake? Against a Pelipper? Dude, I think I might be tryharding a little bit too much here right now. But the thing is, like, every other battle is, like, the hardest battle of my life. And then we get battles like this, where we're getting earthquaked on our Pelipper by an Excadrill. What am I supposed to even think anymore? This is so hard to call. They end up letting that one go. I guess they don't have any shields left over, and we have a Weather Ball loaded for this Ufisk. But right now, I'm just kind of wondering, what could that final Pokemon be in the back? Hopefully it's not something that RPS is at this point. That would be kind of embarrassing if it is. We end up trying to catch another Discharge, but they end up trying to farm us down with their Ufisk. We see their final Pokemon is a Carbink, but I think that might be a Tackle Carbink as well. This trainer kind of has, like, the right idea of some Pokemon that are kind of viable, but, like, the movesets are just so crazy to me right now. They have Earthquake on Excadrill. They're single moved on Ufisk. They're running Tackle Carbink. I mean, I don't even think Excadrill's a good pick, but I mean, if you're running Excadrill, you might as well run the Drill Run and the Rock Slide moveset. This game is so weird. I'm glad that we didn't just get RPS by a Carbink, though. This actually gets knocked out just with Thundershocks there, so Thundershock buff coming in clutch. Alright, looks like we once again had a ban. Our Pelipper going away, but we have Goodra now. Goodra's going to be able to put in a lot of work against this Tentacruel. Thunder Punch did get buffed. They come in with a Melmetal. As we were talking about, they have buffed Thundershock here, so it's going to do a little bit more fast move pressure. Not that it's going to help against Goodra or against this Unovan Stunfisk. We can resist electric-type damage all day. Our opponent here going to actually go for a Rock Slide. Maybe they don't want to debuff their defense stat, or maybe this trainer also doesn't have a double-move Pokemon. Let's see what it's going to throw now. Probably going to be a Superpower, honestly. Yeah, it's going to be a Superpower here, but we survived that incredibly easily, and after getting that debuff off, I know this Mud Bomb should be able to knock them out, or at least threaten a shield. They do end up shielding that move, and now since they are debuffed, I'm fine no-shielding this, overfarming as much as I can, because that Tentacruel is still around. Honestly, I am not that worried about switch advantage this game. They end up actually swapping out once again to Tentacruel. We have back-to-back Mud Bombs loaded, and we also have that Thunder Punch on our Goodra. So if we can knock out this Tentacruel potentially before they even get any of this energy off, that's going to be massive. Melmetal does have a bit of energy. We never actually landed a Mud Bomb on it either, so they have a decent amount of health left over on it as well, but we can get the combo play with this Thunder Punch, knock out this Tentacruel, and now even if Melmetal comes back in, it's kind of a squishy Pokemon as far as Steel types go, so we can get this Aqua Tail through, make sure that we can get the knockout or potentially put them into farm down range. Let's see how much damage this does. I guess I should have gone for Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch does a little bit more damage nowadays than Aqua Tail, but we still end up getting the knockout, the final Pokemon being a Unova Stunfisk, and we can take the win there. Alright, Shadow Dragonite up against the Clodsire in the lead. It looks like we ended up getting Goodra banned, so I guess a lot of bans happening right now. Basically, it looks like 18 Pokemon already banned at the first day of the season. That is almost one Pokemon every single game that I've played so far, which is a little bit annoying. Obviously, I haven't shown all of the battles here from the stream that we had because that would be... I actually had 30 battles today because I saved a set from yesterday. That would be a very long video, but these are just the highlights here, showing all of the individual battles, all of the Pokemon that we at least used for one game here. This Dragonite is having a decent time against this Clodsire, but we do have to keep in mind Clodsire is a very bulky Pokemon. I had to throw that move because they're running Sludge Bomb on CMP. Luckily, though, we draw a shield from them, and in comes a Shadow Feraligatr. This is going to be a little bit uncomfortable here because they would reach that Hydro before my Dragon Claw. I'm going to catch the Hydro Cannon on our Shadow Feraligatr and try to reach a Hydro Cannon on CMP before they can knock us out. If I can win the CMP and if I get a shield here, that's probably the best case scenario. I'm going to try to get the shield so that we can make sure our Dragonite potentially has more play in the backline. Seems like they're kind of scared of Dragonite with the way they're playing out this matchup so far. They do throw on CMP. They get the shield as well, which is fantastic. Now we have no shields left over. I'm going to farm this down with our Unova Stunfisk. Hold on. We don't farm it down in time? Okay, that's a little bit of a mistake by me there. I had a little bit more faith in Unova Stunfisk than I guess I should have. What is going to come in? Fortunately, we do see their final Pokemon is going to be a Talonflame right now, which means we can knock them out with this Discharge plus a Dragon Claw, and then hopefully we can fast move down the rest of the team here, because our Dragonite still has a bit of health, but honestly, that was a huge misplay. I guess now I need to learn how much damage a Thunder Shock is going to end up doing to that Feraligatr. It's just a learning lesson, right? Looks like we're still going to win this game one way or another. They still have that Gator in the back. We get a full Dragonite sweep. But that was a bit of a clunky endgame there. Honestly, a very fun first start of the day to our new season. And a lot of Pokemon banned already, so it's just going to get more and more interesting. These banned Pokemon are going to carry over to tomorrow, which means that we're not going to be able to just kind of, use these Pokemon again tomorrow. We're going to have to keep it up for the whole week. These 18 Pokemon, completely inaccessible starting tomorrow, which means only more spice picks, hopefully, for us to be using. Also, at the end of the day here, looks like we have a 19-30 record. Honestly, probably one of my worst starts I've ever had. We've only got 19 wins, 11 losses. I don't know what the percentage is on that. It's just under 66%, it looks like. So it's not amazing. I guess it's not terrible given the challenge that we're doing right now, but it was a very interesting start to the season. So going to be excited to see where it goes from here. All right, well, thank you so much for watching today's video. I stream my battles basically every day live at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, so if you want to see this kind of content live, please make sure to check me out there. Also, I'm going to upload a lot more to the channel, so if you want to see more videos like this, please make sure to subscribe. Thank you again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.